Hi, it's Peculus here again, and this is Shade one more time. And we just came in from just having a nice little ride about on the fields out there. It's kind of brisk, but it's good and dry, really. Even though we had a little bit of rain today, it wasn't too muddy, so we thought we'd ride outside for a change. Anyway, I don't know where you are in the world right now, but in Canada, we're heading into another month-long lockdown, which is, a little bit discouraging, I guess you could say. On the bright side, I guess I'm trying to catch up on my reading, so it's giving me a chance to do that, which is, I guess, good. A friend of mine lent me a book. Actually, it's Linda, and you don't know that you know Linda, but you do know Linda because Linda is actually behind the camera most of the time. I should say, if the camera looks steady, it was Linda. If it kind of looks like this, it's me. So I don't want poor Linda to be blamed for how bad my photographer, my videotaping is sometimes. But when it's clear, it's Linda. Anyway, she lent me a book. It's by that guy named Jim Kwik. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Limitless. And what he's talking about is that supercomputer, like he calls it, that's between our ears, like our brain, right? And he talks about how powerful it is, and it's really fascinating. Like he says, apparently we have like 70,000 thoughts every single day, which is amazing, right? And I've gotten to be a little bit of got a kick on this really for the last couple of years, where I'm really trying to get more conscious of what I'm thinking all the time. So like, I try to avoid saying things like, I'm no good at math, in my head or something, or I have no sense of direction. And well, actually, I still say I have no sense of direction because I get lost all the time, but I'm working on that one. Anyway, but one of the things he talked about, and I've only started the book, but it's really good. And one of the things he talked about is that they took a bunch of people and they divided them into 3 groups. And I've heard about this study before. It's fascinating. And they had one of the groups practice every single day for a month throwing a basketball into a hoop, and they had another group of them do absolutely nothing for a month, and then the third group, they had them just think about it for a month, think about throwing the ball into the hoop. And as you might imagine, at the end of the month, the people who had done nothing were still really bad at throwing the ball into the hoop, but the people who had practiced every single day were only 1% better than the people who had just thought about it. And I think that is absolutely amazing, the power of our mind, right, to do these things. And I know it's true because I remember years ago when I was young and foolish, I used to event, and I had this wonderful horse named Toby, and he was so brave and he was so good and generous, and we had such a good time. But one of the things that used to scare me to death was that, I don't know if you've ever been on a cross-country course, but sometimes there'll be a jump where the horse can't see what's on the other side when he jumps. So he's kind of jumping into space. The rider knows because you've walked the course a bunch of times, so you know what's there, but the horse doesn't know. And it didn't matter where that jump would be on a course. Like if it was jump number 15, I would jump number 1 to 14, only thinking about that one jump. Because I kept thinking, if that good horse ever hurts himself, like clips it or something, or, because I knew he'd jump it because he's so brave. But I thought, if he ever hurt himself, I would never forgive myself. And it was so stupid. And somebody finally said to me, try imagining the perfect jump over those kind of jumps. Instead of dwelling on, like, oh my gosh, I had the worst case scenarios of hitting it and somersaulting and really hurting himself. It was awful, And so when somebody suggested that, it really helped. Like I started to, instead of having all these terrible scenarios, I only thought about it being beautiful and perfect and that allowed me to let him to jump the way he did, which was always brave and forward. And it just changed everything when I started to change how I was thinking about it. And that's like so many years ago, I can't even count anyway. I think it's a great thing to think about with everything we do in our life, like including if you're thinking about taking up riding lessons. Like I know a lot of people who will say, oh, I'd really love to do it, but I'm too old, or I'm not fit enough, or I've waited too long. And don't say that. Just start imagining, what would it be like? How great would it be? Like you could have joined me and Shade tonight on a beautiful walk around the property. It was just lovely. The sun was starting to come set, and it was just gorgeous, and there was no bugs yet because it's still spring, and it was just fantastic. So, instead of imagining that it's something you can't do, start imagining, what would it be like if I was doing it? I remember hearing years ago a quote from Henry Ford, and I love this quote. He said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And it's so true. It's in everything in life, right? If you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right. So I love it. It's just something to think about, as the lockdown eventually someday is going to come to an end. Start imagining, what would it be like if you found the perfect riding school, the perfect place to ride, the perfect horse that you could go out nice ride around the fields and enjoy the countryside. There's not a better way to see it. Anyway, that's it for this week. Hang in there if you're locked down again. If you're not, lucky you. And remember to thank your horse, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye. Say goodnight, Shade. That's it.